A Name of One's Own by Michael Hudson Arnold. Chapter 1. It was the last day of school, and with a full summer stretching out before, it had come to this. Such timing. Just the last day of school, and he couldn't keep it together. His fifth grade had been in yet another town, in another state. What is seventh grade, he thinks and looks ahead. Is there a less auspicious time? Just yesterday, in the dwindling time, he finally had fought back, and with a nose still sore and tinted pink with the removed blood, he had looked at his counselor and, exasperated, asked, "How's this going to help me?" "How will what help you?" she asked, with her permed hair waving as the oscillating fan passed across her and him. She hands him a tissue and looks at his nostril and wills it to not bleed. She picks up her pencil and holds it between both hands and turns it. USA General's No. 2 pencil can be seen and then disappears, can be seen and then disappears. "How will school help me?" And he didn't look up at her when he asked, but he raised his eyes to her nameplate. What is that for, he thinks? Ownership? The desk remains hers even when she isn't in the room because her name is on it? Is theft that rampant in school? "You need an education, Flynn," she kindly suggests. "Well, is it possible to not get an education?" And he looks higher onto a stack of red folders created by the adult world. She can't get enough of this boy. His questions are too big for his size, and it obviously pains him. She knows this, and with that, cannot help. "Maybe it isn't," and she nods. "However, we must all share certain knowledge. The more we agree upon more, we can move in one direction. As a civilization, we can move in one direction." But she stops herself. It's a half-written dissertation, and it's available, but who wants to read it? "So I'm supposed to know what other people know? That just seems..." "Seems what?" Joyce asks. "It seems sad." And now he sees her. Brown-rimmed glasses catch her steady eyes. "Well, why is that sad to you?" "Well, maybe it isn't, but it just seems like we're making ourselves feel better by telling ourselves the same stories or something." And he almost had it, but it is fading. He turns to the window and looks out. For a moment, he was pulling a message from that nether region in the board he's staring at, but it got snagged. It got caught on something, and he must let it go. Like watching his own bike being ridden away by another. "Flynn," and he has stood, his back to her. Far across the field, where boys and girls are at play, abusing a soccer ball while a shrill metallic whistle pierces the dirt, he sees a stop sign. He stares at it, and Joyce places her pencil back on the desk. "Flynn," and the pencil turns upon its octagonal shape. It turns again, and then inexplicably begins to roll not down, but up the red folders, before then falling off the desk. What she does not see is the stop sign and its red face that bends to the ground like a rose, grown heavy with fortune and long life. He walks out of the office, and Joyce stands, walks around her desk, picks up the pencil and examines it. She places it back on the desk, and it rests. She nudges it, but it does nothing. It happens, except for the reappearance of USA General's No. 2 pencil. She sits and watches the pencil. Driving home from the clock dinner, Maud feels the few dollars in her pocket with her left, while her right is on the steering wheel. She's stained with butter and coffee, but is satisfied in the bounty of her endeavors. She has considered the $24.53 take, and knows what she can buy. It is enough for a dinner and a movie with Flynn. She looks into the rearview mirror and still likes what she sees. It is a dwindling beauty, but most believe that she still has it. She turns off 20 and takes a left onto 17. She can't quite get used to the margins where she and Flynn now live. They haven't had to live this far from town before, but after the last time, she knew they needed to go deeper underground. In a town where the streets aren't named, that's pretty deep. And as soon as she takes her left, she can see a cop car and a few of her neighbors out in the road ahead. The men are absent, but as she gets closer, she can see that they are surrounding whatever the event is. The women have taken a more distant stance. Circle upon circles. She pulls off into the weeds off the right side of the road. "Hey, Maud," Miss Hines says. She's holding a cigarette and has her coffee cup, which after 4 p.m. is usually filled with wine. Craziest thing. I can't make sense of it. Maybe it hit a car. Maud walks past and doesn't care to hear anymore. As she approaches the back of the 4 men, they all have their hands stuffed into the front pockets, as if searching for an answer. When she's close enough to see, her hand instinctively goes up to her mouth and she inhales sharply. The stop sign is bent over, but with an odd undulation in its stem, as if it started to bend, changed its mind, and started to bend again. The octagonal face sits not just flat in the earth, but pressed 5 inches into it. She stares and absent-mindedly moves forward, unaware of the proximity she is to other men, until her shoulder touches one man. He turns, but what was likely going to be agitation or a form of anger, he is assuaged by her beauty. The man looks at her. He wants to make small talk. He wants to use this miracle, the moment when reality forgets to act as it should, to access her. Maybe this event is the key to her. "Ever seen anything like that?" he asks. Without thinking, she says, "Yes," while turning. "Where?" he says, agitated that she is walking hastily away. "Before we moved last." But this she says under her breath. Even so, the women she passes cannot hear. By the time she returns to the car, her heart is beating into her very ears. She tries to open the door but pulls frantically, slashing at the handle like a claw. Finally gripping it, she pulls, dumps herself into the seat. As her head collides forward, the horn honks but none look. They have closed in on the stop sign. This will forever be that which alludes to the miraculous. Maybe they can believe in life after death, telekinesis, Bigfoot, aliens, all of it. If this happened, with or without the scorched earth, maybe the dimension we live in is prelude to the event where life is phantasmagoric in its show of secrets to be known. She looks up, where outstretches a string attached to her nose and the steering wheel. She isn't bothered by this potential attack on her vanity. She swipes it away, inhales, shrugs her shoulders and lets them fall. They will move. Again. She will find another place in the world for them, and he will let them live there until he screws it all up again.